What does katana mean?
It means Japanese sword.
Samurai? It's one of those cartoons I've been wanting to talk about for a while now. I first mentioned it back during my review of Long Live the Royals, a miniseries I've never heard anyone talk about. So much for that long live part. And seeing as Jack is finally getting the finale he deserves, I thought we'd transition out of anime for a bit and talk about an American cartoon that's inspired by Japanese culture and features a Japanese main character. Created by Genndy Tartakovsky, the series was released in 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Open
Time passage.
No.
I'm sorry?
Jack!
I'm afraid I can't do that.
The series acted as Genndy's response to action cartoons of the time, believing that too much time was spent on the plot, rather than on the action itself. This idea of putting the plot second, while it sounds like it could lead to a series that has no chance of grabbing you emotionally, works out in a way that makes Samurai Jack stand out against its animation counterparts. Samurai Jack, whenever it can, uses the animation to tell the story and to develop the plot, rather than just spouting exposition.
So many shows on all the variety of networks, they think it's all about, you know, non-stop yapping. Like that, the only way to tell a story is to have characters talking at each other
It's like exposition
all the freaking time. Yeah.
This allows for the animation to be paced in a way that's beneficial towards the action, rather than having to spend several minutes on being like, "And then I went to Greece and trained with the Greeks in their ways of wrestling and yada yada yada." The show could just take a few seconds to show you a series of images, and you get it. And this idea of imagery telling the story isn't just exclusive to the plot and drama of Samurai Jack. When the show can, it uses the imagery as part of its humor. This is an extension of this idea that a lot of cartoons use dialogue as a source of humor, rather than taking advantage of the fact that animation is a visual medium. The visuals are also backed up by Tartakovsky's idea of white versus black against a red background. This idea isn't completely literal. Outside of Jack vs. Aku and possibly the 60s, it was another way of describing having two colors against an intense background that allows for everything to contrast and be easy to read. Clear reads are something Tartakovsky pushes hard throughout the entire series, which at times helps push Jack past TV quality animation and into the realm of feature quality animation. The area we see on screen isn't just a jumbled mess of colors and ideas strewn together. Everything is neatly and tightly pulled together visually, in a way where bright colors stand out against dark colors, and vice versa. When you look at almost any scene in Samurai Jack, it's easy to tell what's happening because of this concept, which is made more pertinent because characters lack outlines. Without these outlines, it'd be easy for characters to blend in with the backgrounds.
Fate has dealt a cruel hand. Darn it!
But because of this idea of white versus black against red, all the characters can stand out in a way that prevents this from happening. I feel what allows Samurai Jack to be so visually strong is how, much like a jukebox used by a gorilla, it's unorthodox in its nature. Unlike most cartoons where a script is developed first, and then the storyboards are developed around that script, Samurai Jack takes an older Warner Bros. Approach and develops a script around the storyboards, meaning that the visuals are always at the forefront. What helps make Samurai Jack stand out even more from a visual angle is how no areas are ever reused in different episodes. Unlike a lot of cartoons that typically take place in an area where certain places end up getting visited repeatedly, Samurai Jack has a different setting with different characters in each episode. And yes, there are some repeat side characters like the Scotsman, and dear lord do I love the Scotsman.
We'll wrestle for it. Thumb wrestle.
But most characters are one and done. A lot of the time, characters aren't even repeated in the same episode. Just looking at Jack vs. the Rave, an episode where no character is ever duplicated, it's easy to see the insane amount of detail and effort the crew went to for this series. But this also leads to a problem with some episodes visually. Tartakovsky has described the episodes as either being A, B, or C episodes. Outside of being the first three letters of the alphabet, these represent the quality of each episode. A episodes are ones where they do as much extra work as possible. B episodes are ones they're happy with but don't really put as much extra work into. And C episodes are ones where it's not worth putting the extra effort into. This leads to some episodes looking amazing, and some others, well, they have their issues.
Now you're thinking with portals.
But even so, there aren't any episodes in Samurai Jack I would call bad. There are episodes I like less than others, and some I think are just okay, like Jack Learns to Jump Good and Jack Tales. Though, I'll admit, I really like the ending of Jack Tales. Can't say the same for Jack Learns to Jump Good, though. That inconclusive mess can just get the fuck out of my apartment. Samurai Black also takes a lot of inspiration from, and references various properties, like Conan, 300, and Star Wars.
That's the real trick, isn't it? And it's gonna cost you $10,000 in advance.
But its biggest influence is The Little Prince and The Eight-Headed Dragon, an animated film produced by Toei Animation. Just from looking at the visuals alone, it's apparent that this film had a major effect on the series. But what about its plot? Does it hold up? Will it revolutionize the way I perceive my relationship with my therapist? Will it stop me from screaming in the middle of the night because Hillary Clinton still refuses to answer my phone calls?
Acceptable.
Samurai Jack has an incredibly simple premise. It's not anything too deep, but it serves its purpose in spades. As the beginning of almost every episode tells us, a long time ago the evil shape-shifting master of darkness Aku unleashed an unspeakable evil upon the world, but Jack fought against him wielding a magic sword. However, before the final blow was struck, Aku threw Jack into the future, and now it's his duty to return to the past to save the world and to defeat Aku. This simple plot allows for a large variety of episodes and scenarios to exist within the same universe. It's possible to go from a super artsy episode of Jack facing against 3 blind archers in a medieval tower, to a comedic episode where Jack is running through Wonderland looking for his clothes. Jack likes to experiment a lot with its genre, much like a college girl in an early 2000s comedy experiments with their sexuality. While it's usually an action comedy, sometimes it tries its hand at other genres, like film noir, epic, and even horror. What's the most surprising thing, however, is how well it's able to blend these genres into its world. They perfectly fit into this open-ended world, where it's believable that a futuristic western town would exist in the same universe as a haunted traditional Japanese home. One of the things that helps tie everything together is this ever-lurking presence of Aku. Although he isn't physically present in every episode, just through the environments alone, his presence is felt in a lot of episodes. A lot of the designs have curves that end in sharp edges, or these unnaturally branching off rectangles, or they're dominated by the colors black and red, all of which are reminiscent of Aku. These combine together as a constant reminder that this is Aku's future, and that he's always watching Jack. It doesn't matter if Jack is saving a race of people, traveling, or masturbating. Aku is always watching, just like Santa Claus. Jack himself isn't the deepest of characters, at least not yet. Jack is a quiet, heroic, and pure-hearted individual who fights for what's right and for his family and people who reside in the past. He's basically Japanese Clint Eastwood. Jack's plight is one that's easy to connect with, especially since we see everything he has to lose at the beginning of the series, which is all expounded upon even further as the show goes on. We want Jack to win. We want him to make it back to the past. We feel his pain every time he almost reaches his goal, because he tries so hard, and he gets so far. But in the end, we had to wait 13 years to get a conclusion. Backing up these characters and the animation is some of the most brilliant use of sound design I've heard in any animated series to date. After rewatching the entire series, I don't think I ever heard a song play more than once. I could be completely wrong in this, but every song just feels fresh and new. It adds more to this world with its variety, but I feel the biggest thing is how it tends to blend traditional sounds with more techno sounds, furthering this idea of a traditional samurai lost in a foreign and futuristic world. But what would sound design be without sound effects? I honestly have no idea, but Samurai Jack's sound direction in this respect is also great. I think one of the best things about it is how, in a lot of instances, the show just lets the sound effects tell the story alongside the animation. You could just close your eyes and you could easily understand everything that's happening. What's even more amazing is how this even works in the action scenes that populate Samurai Hack. Sometimes the sound effects just sound like they're part of the music itself, but it's also how it knows how to pull back on the sound, both in its score and its sound effects, letting one or the other just speak for the scene.
His eyes are always watching.
Samurai Jack is in the house!
I must return to my own time so that I might undo Aku's evil reign before it envelops the earth.
Your efforts are in vain, Samurai. You've mastered countless fighting styles and weapons. You're the defender of truth, freedom, and talking dogs. Armies fear you. There's no stopping you once you get cooking.
Aku tricked me and sent me into the future. I quest to return to the past and undo the evil that he has done.
Find Samurai Jack. I'm gonna make a lot of money cashing in on your hide. Destroy him.
I will eat your soul! I seek you, Samurai Jack.
Oh, you going all old school on me, huh?
I'll be back, Samurai. I'll be back.
And so I was really nervous about going into it with this. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna ruin this show for everybody that loved it. You know, because you can't live up to people's expectations.
When it comes to rewatching any show from our childhoods, it's easy to come in with a belief that what we're watching is amazing, and to leave with a feeling that we were the biggest idiots when we were kids. Either that, or we grew up to like the Big Bang Theory and we never experienced that feeling in our lives.
Oh, snap.
When going back and rewatching all of Samurai Jack, however, I never once got that feeling, and to be honest, I think I enjoyed it even more now that I'm an adult, and I should know. I'm an adult. If there's any show I've reviewed up to this point that I feel you should watch, it's definitely this one. Yeah, I love JoJo and I love Harmon Quest, but Samurai Jack just has so much to offer for anyone. This is a show I feel anyone, even people who don't like cartoons, could get into. There's just so much variety and energy and love put into the show that I don't see how anyone could not like it. But what about Season 5? Well, I could say I'm pretty excited about it. As of the recording of this video, the final season hasn't released yet. but I'm incredibly excited. Am I worried at all? Sure. It would be crazy not to be a little worried, especially considering the circumstances. It's been almost 13 years since the last season, but I trust Gendy. From all of the interviews and videos that have come out surrounding the new season, it seems like they know what they're doing. But only time will tell when I review Season 5 after it's all said and done. Till then, stay tuned for when I actually fulfill another review I promised a long time ago. I seriously need to stop promising reviews.